Hear from you, I get a sense, obviously, of what they are. What are they?
If I told you I knew for sure, I'd be lying. I can tell you that this is a door there that we didn't know the door was there. Now we know the door is there, and that door is cracked open a tiny bit, and out of there is a little light gone. But what's behind that door, we don't know.
Welcome to the show, everyone. You're watching UAP Truth 33. I'm John. I'm your host. Today, I got a good one for you, man, because Chris Bledsoe was interviewed by Ross Coulhart. Man, they got into a lot of deep things, man. We're talking about high strangeness, presidential curiosity, and some prophetic statements by Chris. And it kind of coincides with what's going on in the world today. He speaks about the drone incursions and how we were putting up drones to kind of muddy the waters because of the orbs. And listen, we all saw video of orbs during that. Yeah, there was drones. There was people misidentifying planes. That's what they were showing on the news mostly. But there was footage of orbs. There was a lot of anomalous things in the sky. And Chris Bledsoe gets into that. And he gets into 2026 and this new knowledge that's going to be upon the earth. He said he never said Jesus Christ was coming back. So it's an interesting interview. Stick with me. We're gonna have fun today. One of the interesting things that I found about this is he speaks about some generals and congressional leaders that came to his house to witness the phenomenon firsthand, and they did. And he gets into some other things, and some people say that he predicted this conflict that's going on between Israel and Iran. Listen, the Middle East there's always something jumping off. Anybody could have pretty much predicted that conflict was going to jump off at some point. Just by the rhetoric alone. So I'm not going to say listen, it's not that I don't believe what Chris says. He probably did see something, had some type of prophetic vision. I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying that, you know, he's not Nostradamus. You know what I'm saying? With all due respect to him, man, because I really do respect him, and he really got into like these spiritual dimensions, and he emphasized that mankind is like on two timelines, which I found this was really interesting. And one timeline is, kind of the one that we're on right now, with these conflicts and with the turmoil, and pretty much these beings told him, I guess the lady, that if they don't intervene or we don't change our ways, we're heading to a very dark future. And that there's these remote viewers that the government uses, and they've been remote viewing the future, and none of them have been predicting anything very pleasant. It's all pretty dark. This is why this 26, 27, or well, 2027 thing, you know, has been kicked around. Um, Now the government officially claims that they don't even use remote viewers, but Chris claims that's BS. And he said that every single astronaut that went to space saw UFOs, that they had an experience up there. Not just one or two, every single astronaut, he said. And that kind of lines up with what I Am a Shed. I don't know if you guys watched that episode I did on I Am a Shed, but he was like the father of Israeli space program, and he said the same thing, that when you go to space, when you come back, you're different. And it kind of made me remember how them Blue Origin, the girls that went up to space in the Blue Origin, how they came back and they were like acting real strange. And, Katy Perry's like holding a flower and talking about love. And, what happened? You know, just makes you wonder. It just really makes you wonder. Maybe it's just having that view of the Earth from that far up, and you realize that we're all in this together, which we are. We are, and I think we need to remember that. And I hope that our leaders remember that. But we have these dark forces, man. These deep state unelected officials. Like they have these secret meetings. Like the Bilderbergs actually had a meeting recently, which that's like a secret meeting with um, bankers, world leaders, where they discuss. Nobody knows what they discuss. It's secret. Then you got like the Council of Foreign Relations, and it just makes you wonder. It really does. It's a scary time. There's a lot of uncertainty. I don't think that. Look, I think we're going to be okay, but we're going through some changes. And things that Chris Bledsoe's talking about, like these two timelines. It can be unsettling. He was also talking about the experiences that his family had. Like they were having experiences with these beings also. Like they would see like a shadow being walk down the hall. Sometimes they would see orbs and stuff inside their house, man. Like I don't know. I might have to move out, dude, if I see, you know what I mean? Like, what do you guys think? You know, I want you guys to watch this clip and just check it out. And it's just an awesome interview. I love Chris Bledsoe, man. He's such a genuine person, man. Like, I don't see any just like deceitfulness in him.
And Lou Elizondo has said this publicly to me when he did an interview with News Nation last year about his new book, Imminent. There is a Collins elite. There's a group of people inside the Pentagon and the intelligence community who do genuinely believe that this phenomenon is demonic,
right,
evil.
Right.
Are they wrong?
Yep. I was told there's structures on the moon. But this senior official from NASA, he wrote 18 books and he mapped the moon. He has the award for mapping the moon. So occultational grazing. So he's watching the top edge of the moon, right, or the sides, the perimeter. And he told me there were buildings on there that were ancient and we didn't build them.
There you go. Structures on the moon. 2-star generals, congressional leaders coming to his house, walking away, shaking their head, wondering what the hell just happened, right? So I believe him 100%. No question in my mind. I believe that he believed. Now, maybe he could be wrong. Listen, these predictions have a way of not coming to pass the way you think they will, right? So maybe it'll come true, but it's gonna. I mean, look, the star Regulus is gonna rise above the Sphinx in April 2026. That's a fact, right? But we don't know what this awakening is, right? And I think, listen, I think what it is, I mean, I don't. I just think that the secrets they can't keep the secrets like they used to. It's just not as easy as it used to be. Like we know that there is a group with a lot of power in the government that basically is calling the shots, no matter who's in office, no matter who our leaders are. The same agenda seems to be in effect. And what I'm speaking about is the program for a new American century, where the neocons, John Bolton, Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, all these guys, William Crystal, they got together in 1999 and they wrote up this plan, program for a new America, and they wanted to expand the influence of the United States across the globe, militarily, everything. And part of that plan was regime change in these rogue nations in the Middle East. And it's funny that this happened in 1999, then the events in the turn of the millennium happened, and don't you know that all those countries that were listed, right, started Afghanistan, Iraq, right? Libya, Syria, and the last one is Iran, right? Muammar Gaddafi, gone, right? Al-Assad from Syria, he's in Russia hiding out, right? Afghanistan didn't go quite as well as they hoped. Iraq, they got rid of Saddam. Now, the last one is Iran. Now that plan was over 26 years ago. And the events that happened in September of 2001, and this building you're seeing on the screen right here, that's building 7 that collapsed at 4:45 in the afternoon. That is not just a random building falling. That's New York City. That's September 2001. That building fell down for no freaking reason. Fell down into its own footprint, all 4 corners of the building just gone, right? And those events that happened that day, in that project for a New American Century, they spoke of an event that, like a Pearl Harbor type event, to gain the support from the public to institute this plan. And the plan is still unfolding to this day. It is. I'm not political. I don't care. I don't care what party's in there. I'm all about UFOs, disclosure, figuring this thing out. But Chris Bledsoe speaks about these 2 timelines that mankind can go down. One is going to be, where we get our stuff together, peace, prosperity, and and the other one, they said, is very, very dark, right? And I don't know, I might put that part of the interview in. I'm not sure. You got to be careful with News Nation because sometimes they get copyright. So I'm really just telling you guys this is what was said in the interview, and that the drone incursions was those drones were ours, and it was to drown out the orbs that were showing up, the anomalous craft, the orbs, these things that people were seeing. Now, what they showed on the news was a lot of drones and planes and looking things and stuff. But, you know, in this interview, if you go watch it, Ross Coulhart said spoke to policemen, he spoke to people in government that said, look, man, there was some weird shit in the sky, right? Um, Chris Bledsoe seems to think that if this conflict keeps going on over in the Middle East, that these beings will interfere. They'll stop it. We'll see. I don't know. What do you guys think about all this, man? I'm convinced, man. I've been like researching Jim Mars, getting into some you know other researchers, and looking at books and stuff, listening to some Jesse Michaels interviews, and I think that there's good entities and there's some dark, evil stuff going on. And I think that these symbols, like if you look on the back of the $1 bill, right? I'm not going to get too conspiratorial because it's going to sound kind of crazy, but I can show you there's an owl on the back of that $1 bill. And it's just funny that there's that all seeing eye on top of the pyramid, and these symbols are everywhere. And I really think, man, that they've been controlling things for a really long time. Like I don't know if any of you guys ever researched the Fed or our money and how we got off the gold standard, and how banks and money pretty much just create money out of thin air, and it devalues the money that we make. It's inflation. Um, and the fact that they're able to get people to buy into this fiat money, and it's the whole thing is just house of cards. I feel like it's evil, and I think that there's been a plan going on for a long time. You know, And I don't even think these people in power really understand, some of them. I don't even think they understand what the influence that is driving and manipulating these people in power, these deep staters that are basically, if we're not careful, it's going to get ugly. I want to know what you guys think about this. I really like Chris Bledsoe. I really loved the interview. Um, he said the beings was in his house, man. That they were seeing shadow people and orbs going down the hallway. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can handle that. Like, I don't know how I would handle that. Now, maybe if I had a relationship with the lady, maybe I wouldn't be scared. But it had to be unnerving in the beginning. Um, I don't know if any of you guys got into that story about Chris Bledsoe and the tree that was burning and stuff. Just really crazy stuff, man. Wild, wild case, and I love it. And I love to listen to the man talk. I don't see any deceit in the man. I feel like he's a genuine, good person, and I think that he's concerned about our future. Um, yeah. So that's you know, how are we going to wrestle control away from these unelected officials that are hoarding this technology, that are holding up disclosure, who, you know, the warmongers. How are we going to stop? How are we going to stop? Hopefully, you know, we get some assistance. Hopefully we can do it. But so far it's been futile because a lot of people aren't even educated about, you know, money and banks and this whole system, this house of cards, this carefully constructed false reality that we live in. And the whole system needs a change. I'm convinced, you know. That's my opinion. That's what I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please hit the like and subscribe. Share it to a friend. Share it to two friends, please. Um, Look, I've been working this job. It's rough. This is a small channel. I'm trying to get it off the ground. I swear I set the camera to I shut off the autofocus, but it's still doing the autofocus thing. So bear with me. Things are gonna get better, you know. And listen, to all my new subscribers, thank you very much. You know, to my loyal viewers, thank you very much. Seriously. Yeah, man, till tomorrow. Peace.